Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 531 based on novel. So let's start. The man in the royal robe stared at the eyebrows of the statue with a hint of surprise. For drops of blood wasn't enough to shock him though. Even Imo had obtained 3 drops. Although a majority of people only obtained 1 drop of blood during this calamity, there were still a lot who obtained 2 drops. Aside from Imo, most with the royal bloodline could obtain at least 2 drops of ancient race heavenly blood. What's more, the royal robed man himself had obtained 6 drops of blood. He was the strongest person among the Dao clan aside from Xian Luo. Therefore, he became the king of the Dao clan. His status was very high and he was revered by countless people. Even so, he was not taken as a disciple by Xian Luo. He had already brooded over this matter, but didn't dare to bring it up. When he heard Grand Empyrean Xian Luo say that he was going to take Imo's heir as a disciple, he felt very gloomy, but he didn't reveal it. For drops of blood, this kind of thing hasn't happened in a long time. However, for drops of blood should be the limit. You can see that the light from the statue is becoming dim. With 13 days of time, 4 drops isn't a lot. There was a lot of debate from the people around the statue. Their eyes were all gathered on the statue. They watched the monstrous, red light slowly dissipate until only a tiny bit remained between the eyebrows. At this moment, the nearly 1 million ancient clan members knew that this was about to be over. The man in the royal robe remained calm but sneered in his heart. Merely 4 drops of blood. How could he have the power to protect my Dao clan? Today's matter was made a bigger deal than it really is. If Uncle wants to accept a disciple, my Dao clan has several members who obtained 4 drops. Even when I obtained 6 drops, he didn't consider me. If he still decides to accept Imo's heir, then I'll be the first to disagree. The man in the royal robe didn't reveal his true thoughts at all and instead revealed a hint of regret. He shook his head and smiled bitterly as he spoke softly to Grand Empyrean Xian Luo beside him. Uncle, 4 drops is quite a lot. Imo's heir can be considered a genius in our Dao clan. Grand Empyrean Xian Luo's expression remained bland, as if he hadn't heard the man in the royal robe at all. He looked at the eyebrows of the statue and watched the red light become more faint until only a sliver remained. He also watched the 4 drops that had appeared emit a crystal clear light. They broke through the void and disappeared into the distance. After a long time, the black-haired young man slowly said, "Let's wait a bit more." The man in the royal robe nodded in agreement, but his heart was filled with disdain. Aside from Uncle, no one else in the Dao clan has better talent than me. Imo wasn't talented enough and his heir is also not talented enough. Time slowly passed on the immortal astral continent. At this moment, inside the rift in the cloud sea, Wang Lin's avatar was sitting on the edge of the altar. He looked at the drop of blood formed by his original body, which was at the center of the altar. This drop of blood quietly floated there, motionless, but at this moment, a howl began to echo inside this strange space. Ripples echoed from nowhere and a powerful, ancient aura slowly spread out. This aura was far beyond anything in the cave world, and not even the Grand Empyrean could compare to it. However, this aura wasn't scary and didn't attract the attention of anyone else. Only Wang Lin could feel it. Ripples echoed above the altar and a giant vortex appeared. It slowly rotated and thunderous rumbles echoed from it. The vortex shrouded the entire altar and a powerful force spread, pushing Wang Lin's avatar off the altar. This force that pushed Wang Lin's avatar caused Wang Lin's mind to tremble. This force was more powerful than the might of heaven. It was more powerful than any pressure Wang Lin had ever faced. Forget him, even 7-colored would be forced off this altar. Wang Lin felt like the drop of blood formed by his original body was burning, and it released a bloodlight that seemed to be communicating with the vortex. As the bloodlight came out from the vortex, a drop of blood flew out and shot toward the drop of blood formed by Wang Lin's original body. Soon, the 2 drops of blood fused into one. At this instant, Wang Lin's avatar immediately sat down. Intense pain came from his mind. This pain made it almost impossible to control his avatar, and he had to focus all his attention on his avatar. The moment he sat down, his consciousness left his avatar and was completely immersed inside that drop of blood. Unspeakable pain echoed through his consciousness. Although he had no body, he felt the pain of his body burning. The drop of blood that had fused with him seemed to be boiling. Just at this moment, the second drop of blood flew out from the vortex and fused with Wang Lin. The pain inside Wang Lin's consciousness increased several-fold, but he could not let out a roar, he could only endure. Shortly after, the third drop of blood flew out from the vortex and fused with Wang Lin. This caused Wang Lin's drop of blood to expand to 3 feet wide, and the shadow of a naked body condensed. This body had a head of white hair. It was Wang Lin. His body was covered in intricate runes that looked extremely bizarre. His eyes were shut and muffled groans of pain came from his mouth. His body gradually took shape. The fourth drop of blood flew out of the vortex. When it flew out, red light filled this endless space. A ray of red light shot out and landed directly between Wang Lin's eyebrows. With this, Wang Lin's body trembled and his eyes suddenly opened. His eyes were red and his body was trembling. A powerful force surged in his body, causing popping sounds to echo inside him. After fusing with these 4 drops of blood, a bloodline was born. This bloodline was that of the Ancient Ones. From now on, Wang Lin was a real member of the ancient clan and a citizen of the ancient country. After the 4th drop of blood flew out, the vortex above showed signs of dissipating, and once it was gone, this calamity would be over. Although Wang Lin had passed it, he could only obtain 4 drops, just 1 more than Yi Mo. This was already a lot for him. After all, he had obtained Yi Mo's inheritance, and 4 drops was already 1 more than Yi Mo. This was already Wang Lin's limit. He was not a genius, not born on the immortal astral continent, and he was merely a lowly cave creature. He could not compare to the man in the royal robe who had obtained 6 drops of blood and became a member of the royal family. Wang Lin didn't have anything compared to a blessed individual like that. He also couldn't compare to Grand Empyrean Xian Luo, who was one of the 9 sons, one of the strongest 9 people on the immortal astral continent. Such a legendary existence was above all others, and he had obtained 8 drops of blood. Wang Lin could not compare to such a person. The only thing he had was his fortitude and unyielding nature and his unwillingness to be controlled by others. Through countless life and death struggles, he had gone from a weak mortal to his current self. Looking back, such hardships were really shocking. While he faced countless life and death struggles, the Emperor and the Ancient Ones of the immortal astral continent cultivated in peace. With the Grand Empyrean guarding them, they rarely faced life and death encounters. While Wang Lin went through countless life and death struggles to gain his resources, the man wearing the royal robe was guarded by countless people while he cultivated. No matter what he wanted, his clan would immediately send it to him. While Wang Lin hugged Li Muwen and cried out, and while Wang Lin struggled desperately to revive Li Muwen, the man in the royal robe played with the strange treasures his people had brought him. He could choose any woman and make them one of his many concubines. For drops of blood is my limit, the bloodline in Wang Lin's body gradually condensed. He looked at the gradually disappearing vortex above him. He was not satisfied. Although he didn't know the commotion he was causing on the immortal astral continent, this was his personality. He was not satisfied, he wanted his bloodline to be even stronger. For nothing else but his unyielding, heaven-defying will. Since you recognize my ancient bloodline, then 4 drops of blood is not enough. There was coldness in Wang Lin's eyes as he leaped into the air and charged toward the dissipating vortex. He was different from all the ancient ones on the immortal astral continent. He had survived in the cave world, and in his heart, he never respected the ancient ancestor. He didn't respect such an ethereal existence, he only believed in his own strength. This was something that no one on the immortal astral continent, not even Grand Empyrean Xian Luo, could comprehend. Even Grand Empyrean Xian Luo still held great respect for the existence of this ancestor. But Wang Lin was different. He was the first person who was not satisfied with the drops of ancient race heavenly blood, so he rushed into the vortex. Throughout the ages, among the 3 clans of the ancient country of the immortal astral continent, no one had taken that step. This was related to the environment in which they grew up in. They lived under the protection of the three Grand Empyreans, under the rules of the three emperors, under the light of their ancestors. They almost fervently admired the ancient ancestor. He was their heaven. No matter how arrogant they were, they didn't dare to show even a little disrespect toward the ancient ancestor. This was something instilled in them from the moment they were born. Everyone who lived around them was the same. Even Grand Empyrean Xian Luo was like this. This just shows how impactful it was. However, Wang Lin was different. He moved like a ray of light and closed in on the dissipating vortex. His figure revealed fortitude, boundless tyranny, and a powerful, unyielding nature. If he hadn't obtained the recognition of the ancient ancestor, it wouldn't matter, but since he had, he didn't agree with only 4 drops. However, Wang Lin's view was different. The so-called recognition was just identifying someone as their descendant so they would have your bloodline. Wang Lin didn't need this bloodline. If he wanted to, he could get the celestial bloodline from the madman. It was an existence equal to the ancient bloodline. Because of this, Wang Lin would charge into the vortex. If this so-called ancient ancestor didn't give him more blood, he would force those 4 drops of blood out of his body and give up his identity as an ancient one. He would take the celestial bloodline, obtain the immortal celestial body, and become a celestial. You recognize me, but I haven't recognized you. If you want me to recognize this bloodline, then give me more blood and power. Wang Lin didn't fear this ancient ancestor, so he dared to demand conditions. Once I recognize a bloodline, I will never betray it, but trying to make me accept it with only 4 drops is too cheap. Wang Lin roared as he rushed at the vortex. His roar entered the vortex and echoed inside. It formed a series of echoes that swirled inside the vortex. Just as Wang Lin entered the vortex, an indifferent aura that was like a divine sense spread out and shrouded him. This prevented Wang Lin from entering and kept him outside the vortex. The aura this divine sense gave off was ancient and contained no emotion at all, as if it were dead. Wang Lin floated inside the aura and coldly stared at the vortex. His eyes lit up and his right hand pointed to the spot between his eyebrows. After lifting his hand, there was a milky white light at his fingertip. He waved his right hand and the void beside him distorted, revealing various pictures. There was a black-robed young man in this picture, and he was only at the core formation stage. He was in the land of the ancient god on planet Suzaku. The picture changed again. After the young man in black experienced many things, he finally obtained ancient god 2-size memory inheritance. You can see it, this is when I first obtained the ancient god inheritance. Wang Lin spoke slowly, then he waved his right hand. The pictures changed and revealed how Wang Lin had obtained his ancient god inheritance. This continued until the end, when he was in the ancient tomb. These were Wang Lin's memories, and he made them appear. Since you have a spirit, then ponder how many drops of blood are needed for me to accept your bloodline. Or else destroy me and I'll give up the ancient bloodline and become a celestial. Wang Lin's words were cold, and after he finished speaking, the aura around him suddenly left. It retreated back into the vortex. It seemed to ponder for a long time, and the vortex that was about to dissipate rumbled once more and began to rotate. It slowly reformed and even more blood light began to spread out. On the immortal astral continent, on the city floating in the sky in the Dao clan, nearly 1 million ancient clan members waited. The man in the royal robe was about to lose his patience, but he didn't dare to speak. The originally dim sliver of blood light between the eyebrows of the statue suddenly erupted with red light. This red light shrouded the world and caused the surroundings to be bathed in red. This sudden change caused an uproar. This is impossible. There is even more blood light. Could the 5th drop be about to form? Throughout the ages, the ancient race heavenly blood was all formed at once. Such a change has never happened before. The blood light has reappeared. The expression of the man in the royal robe changed for the first time. He stared at the light between the eyebrows of the statue and shock appeared in his eyes. How can this be? It was obviously going to end. How could this happen? This. Only the black-haired young man, Grand Empyrean Xian Luo, revealed a smile. His eyes revealed a strange light as he stared at the statue, remaining silent. While the nearly 1 million ancient clan members were in shock, the bloodlight gathered between the eyebrow of the statue and a fifth drop of blood flew out. This fifth drop confirmed everyone's speculations and immediately set off a monstrous wave. Everyone was in shock. All their gazes gathered on the statue. After a long time, only the fifth drop appeared. After seeing this, the man in the royal robe finally relaxed. 5 drops. So what if there are 5 drops? I obtained 6 drops and became the emperor of the Dao clan. I don't believe he can. The eyes of the man in the royal robe shined. Just as he began to think this, what happened next caused his thoughts to collapse. His whole body trembled. The bloodlight became monstrous again, and this time the 6th drop of blood flew out. 6 drops of blood. 6 drops. Same as the emperor. This is our Dao clan's great fortune. Not 6 drops, it's 7 drops. When the bloodlight gathered, the crowd went into an uproar. The face of the man in the royal robe turned purple and the 7th drop flew out. What was even more amazing was that as Grand Empyrean Xian Luo laughed, the 8th drop appeared. 8 drops of blood. Even Grand Empyrean Xian Luo had only obtained 8 drops. The surrounding people almost lost their minds as they stared at the statue in shock. The man in the royal robe subconsciously licked his lips, and there was an almost undetectable flash of coldness in his eyes. How could Yi Mo's heir obtain such recognition from the ancestor and be given 8 drops of blood? I'm the real descendant of the ancient ancestor, I'm the royal bloodline. I'm the greatest genius of the ancient clan besides uncle. The man in the royal robe took a deep breath and suppressed the jealousy in his heart. He could not let Grand Empyrean Xian Luo see this. His gloomy expression was hidden by a smile. The man in the royal robe faced the black-haired young man and smiled. Congratulations, uncle. It seems this child will become your only disciple. Perhaps one day he will even surpass uncle and become a new Grand Empyrean for the Dao clan. The heart of the man in the royal robe was sinister. Although these words sounded nice, they were filled with hidden meanings. However, his words were lacking any sense of falsehood, as if he really had spoken due to the joy he felt. It was difficult to see anything off about them. The black-haired young man remained the same after hearing his. Only he turned around and looked meaningfully at the man in the royal robe. With this gaze, the man in the royal robe trembled. Just as he was about to speak, he heard another uproar. He looked back at the statue and his heart skipped a beat, his face immediately turning pale. The 9th drop slowly formed under this heaven-shattering uproar. The 9th drop of blood caused Grand Empyrean Xian Luo's eyes to shine brightly. The joy in his eyes could be seen clearly by everyone. However, this was not the end. After the 9th drop of blood, the bloodlight gathered once more. As everyone was holding their breaths, the 10th drop of blood showed signs of appearing. The 10th drop. Something that has never happened throughout the ages, the 10th drop. 10 drops of the ancient ancestor blood, this is unbelievable. 10 drops of blood, doesn't that mean this person is the real emperor of the Dao clan? Even the royal family has never obtained 10 drops of blood. Who the hell is this person? Could he become the future emperor of our Dao clan? The man in the royal robe was livid and almost lost control of the crazed jealousy in his heart. He stared at the bloodlight gathering between the eyebrows of the statue. All the bloodlight in the area gathered and formed a drop of blood. This drop of blood was not red, but purple. The moment the drop of purple blood formed, the expression of the man in the royal robe changed greatly and he subconsciously took a few steps back. His eyes revealed more shock, horror, and disbelief than before. Ancient ancestor soul blood. This is soul blood. It's impossible, impossible. The Grand Empyrean's expression changed for the first time. He stared at the drop of purple blood and revealed shock in his eyes for the first time. He was not even shocked by the 9th drop, but at this moment, he was shocked. Ancient ancestor? You sending out a drop of soul blood, could this mean something? Soul blood, this soul blood. Throughout the ages, only 9 drops of soul blood have appeared. 3 drops of soul blood created one of the ancient clans. 9 drops of soul blood created the current 3 ancient clans. The black-haired young man took a deep breath. His right hand pointed at the sky and the world changed colors. A large, red sun appeared, shrouding this area, preventing anyone from the outside from seeing what was happening here. I sealed this place with my Empyrean sun. Members of my Dao clan, do not tell anyone of this matter. Anyone who violates this will die, no matter their identity. Grand Empyrean Xian Luo spoke slowly. He turned around and gave the man in the royal robe a profound look. Did you hear that? The man in the royal robe lowered his head and quickly answered, yes. However, the jealousy inside his heart had almost reached the point of collapse. The black-haired young man raised his head and looked toward the land occupied by the Celestials. He slowly muttered, I'm going to the land of the Celestials to bring this child back here. 5 drops of blood and 1 drop of purple soul blood shined brightly before the statue. After Grand Empyrean Xian Luo sealed the aura with the power of his Empyrean sun, these 6 drops of blood flew off into the distance. Ripples appeared in the sky, forming a giant vortex, and the center of the vortex seemed to connect to the void. The 6 drops of blood flew into the vortex and disappeared before everyone's gazes. The last to disappear was the purple soul blood. The appearance of this drop of soul blood shook everyone. They also revealed disbelief, horror, and awe. They looked at the demonic purple light that came from the soul blood and watched it disappear into the vortex. After that, they became sober and the shock became even more intense. The shock was like a wave that shrouded their bodies and souls. Purple soul blood. My God, I saw a drop of purple soul blood. In all the generations of the ancient country, there have only been 9 drops. Legend says that the ancient ancestor gave 9 drops of soul blood to his 3 sons. These 3 sons each created one of the ancient clans. My clan is the Dao clan formed by his 3rd son, and it has lasted until today. Now the 10th drop of blood has appeared. This? Who is experiencing the first calamity of the 3rd trial? I have never heard of soul blood appearing during this calamity. This matter is too amazing. This is definitely a shocking event for my ancient country. There are 3 calamities in the 3rd trial, the first calamity being the ancient race heavenly blood. He obtained 9 drops of blood followed by a drop of soul blood, and this is only the first calamity. If he reaches the second calamity, ancient Dao 3 distractions. What kind of fortune will he obtain in that calamity? There is also the last calamity, blessing of the ancient ancestor. If he obtains such high recognition from the ancient ancestor, I can't imagine what he will obtain then. Maybe the legendary ancient ancestor inheritance that no one has obtained before. Debates began to echo as everyone was shaken by the drop of soul blood. Fortunately, this place had been sealed by Grand Empyrean Xian Luo, and with his powerful might, he prevented people from leaking what had happened here. Otherwise, this matter would set off a huge wave on the immortal astral continent. The Ji and Shi clans would definitely come to investigate once they learned of this. It could even cause a dispute. It has to be said that the appearance of the 10th drop of soul blood was simply too important for the ancient country. If Wang Lin could obtain 2 more drops, then he could scatter his essence blood and form the 4th ancient clan like the ancient ancestors' 3 sons. If the Celestials knew of this, they would be shocked. Even though this wouldn't set off a huge war, they would send people to pay close attention. Everything was because of this drop of soul blood. After the 6 drops of blood disappeared into the vortex and the blood light disappeared, the aura disappeared as well. Grand Empyrean Xian Luo waved his right hand at the red sun that shrouded the area. The sun suddenly gave off even brighter light and divided into nearly 1 million pieces. It landed on the bodies of everyone here, forming a sealing spell. After everything was done, the sun that shrouded this place dissipated and the sky returned to normal. The wind blew by as if it wanted to blow away the shock and tension that was here. Grand Empyrean Xian Luo looked into the distance and stepped forward without hesitation, disappearing without a trace. He was going to the Celestials' land, to the 7 Dao sect, to the cave to take that child back home. After Xian Luo left, the city in the sky remained silent for a long time. Then the man in the royal robe left with an extremely gloomy heart. After he left, everyone else slowly left while still filled with shock. Everything that had happened here was buried deeply at the bottom of their hearts. As they scattered, they all looked at where Grand Empyrean Xian Luo went. There was complication, envy, jealousy in their eyes, but what overpowered all of that was expectation. They were looking forward to Grand Empyrean Xian Lu bringing back the person that shocked them. They were even more looking forward to seeing what this person looked like and who this person was. My Dao clan is the weakest of the three ancient countries. I hope the Grand Empyrean's return will change all of this. It wasn't until everyone had dissipated that the Emperor returned to the depths of the city in the sky, to his palace. This palace was so large, it was very difficult to see where it ended. It was filled with intricate carvings and was extremely luxurious. There were many servants inside the palace. Their faces were pale and they were extremely nervous. This fear came from the terrifying aura that came from one of the sub-palaces to the east. This aura was filled with an irrepressible sense of anger. Thunderous rumbles echoed across the palace. The resident palace for the Emperor collapsed and a powerful shockwave spread. Some of the workers and bodyguards couldn't avoid it fast enough and all died miserably. The smell of blood spread out. A person gradually walked out from the ruins of the collapsed palace. He was the man in the royal robe. His eyes were calm and lacking any emotion. After he walked out from the ruins, he didn't even look back before he slowly said, "Clean this up. I want to see a new palace in 3 days." After he spoke, hundreds of smoke-like figures appeared and knelt before him. The man in the royal robe waved his sleeve and disappeared without a trace. When he reappeared, he was in the tallest tower in the palace. He stood there, facing the world as he overlooked the palace and the ancient ancestor statue that pierced the sky. "I'm the Dao country's emperor, a true descendant of the ancient ancestor, and his blood flows through me. A mere heir of Yimo, what qualifications does he have to be valued so greatly by Xian Luo?" Soul blood, the man in the royal blood looked calm, but his right hand formed a fist. He suddenly began to laugh. "This is good as well, this will be a bit interesting. I want to see what kind of wave he can set off. Even though he has the soul blood, he will still have to kneel before me." The man in the royal robe smiled even wider and withdrew his gaze. He waved his right hand and a fist-sized red bead appeared in his grasp. There seemed to be countless mist-like clouds inside, slowly rotating, and there was a soul sitting inside. It was impossible to clearly see what the soul looked like, one could only tell it was the soul of a woman. This soul wasn't complete, it was only part of a soul. The man in the royal robe looked at the red bead in his hand and slowly said, "Yi Dao. Servant is here." After the man in the royal robe spoke, the light behind him became twisted and an old man in black walked out. He knelt down on one knee before the man in the royal robe. The man in the royal robe calmly asked, "Did you find her?" "Emperor, this servant has searched the entire ancient country and couldn't find this woman. Now I have sent people to the Celestials and will receive news soon." "There is no news from the Imperial teacher." The man in the royal robe frowned. The old man kneeling there remained cool and calmly spoke. "Although the Imperial teacher gifted the soul of this woman to your majesty, the Imperial teacher can't find her. However, this woman will be of great use to your majesty in the future. With this woman, your majesty can have a complete ancient country." He only told this servant that he was divinating the future of my ancient Dao country, and his mind was integrated with the underworld. He went to a strange place he had never seen before and extracted her soul from a piece of heavenly Dao. The man in the royal robe silently pondered for a moment and then looked at the red bead in his hand. His eyes revealed a strange light. "This woman looks too ordinary for me to acknowledge. However, if she is really as Imperial teacher says, then I'll take her as my empress. Continue to search for people among the Celestials. If you really can't find any, then find a woman in the ancient country who can fuse with this soul." "Yes." The old man in black got up and was about to leave. He hesitated for a moment and after pondering for a long time, he clasped his hands to speak again. "Emperor, before the Imperial teacher went into closed-door cultivation, he said one more thing." "Speak." The man in the royal robe looked at the red bead in his hand, and his voice was filled with majesty. He said that his divination may or may not be true. When he extracted the soul of this woman, he saw two images. One was the emperor uniting the ancient country, and the other was the emperor dead. In these two images, there was another figure present. This figure was a bit vague and the Imperial teacher couldn't see him clearly, but this person had a head of white hair. Interesting. You can leave. The man in the royal robe revealed a flash of coldness in his eyes. He looked at the bead in his hand and slowly smiled. You woman, who are you? What kind of relationship do you have with the white-haired figure the Imperial teacher saw? The soul of the woman inside the red bead sat there motionless. Her figure was obscured by the mist and she seemed not to know what was happening at all. At this moment wind blew by and landed the man in the royal robe. The bead also seemed to feel the wind, and the mist around the woman seemed to churn. Just as her figure was about to be revealed, it was suddenly covered up by the finger of the hand that clenched the bead. In the cave world, in the rift in the cloud sea, the giant vortex above the altar rumbled. The bloodlight shined on Wang Lin's body, making him look like he was made of blood. His eyes narrowed and stared into the depths of the vortex. He eventually saw a few drops of blood fly out from the vortex. This video will end here.